Chingawe! This is me doing what my mom always told me to do. My wife too said, if you ain't got nothing to say, don't say shit. So I'm gonna just sit here, not say shit. I ain't got nothing nice to say. Man, you ever just I'm gonna say a little something. You already know. You ever just see a group of humans doing some shit from the outside looking in? You're like, why the fuck? Why the fuck would anyone want to do that? That's one thing. You ever seen a group of humans doing some shit and wished you were a dog? Hey, Miss Coffee. Man, I wish I was a dog. I wish I was a butterfly. I wish I was a ladybug. I wish I was a sparrow. I wish I was a chipmunk. Anything other than being genetically related and being upright and bipedal. I want nothing to do with any of these people, man. I want nothing to do with them. You know, I don't know. It's a hard situation because you know you got, you know what, I bet I got a beep in here and everybody's going to say, you got a beep on your phone. Hold up, man. Hold up, Mike. There we go. It's a tough situation because, you know, out there in Hawkins County, you know, these folks were not social media giants. This is, I guess, a talk about why social media is so dangerous. I had a visit today, and I'm not going to talk about it. It's a hard situation because you know you got, you know what, I bet I got a beep in here and everybody's going to say, you got a beep on your phone. Hold up, man. Hold up, Mike. There we go. It's a tough situation because, you know, out there in Hawkins County,
July 10th, I was there in Hawkins County. Okay, let's keep listening. Strange. Look, guys, hold on. All of a sudden, after my live, I'm setting up for today, and I decide I'm going to go to Blood Money again. There wasn't much on here earlier. I promise you there wasn't. And all of a sudden, just about everything is unprivated. Is that strange? I find that strange. Here's where the first video from Summer starts. He was on Oren, Janky YouTubers, Cash Garnin, Saturday Night Cutting Up, Friday Recap. These are all prior to summer. This video was June.
Problems, with the sending of the addresses, with the copyright strikes, and it's YouTube is just it's a beast. You got to just use YouTube for what it's good for, and put together a salad or whatever it is you're trying
June
to get
22nd.
It has been manipulated in a way. It's been manipulated in a way where people can use it to do disastrous things. So I just don't want to play anymore with that sort of manipulation. It's all fun and games, right? Until somebody has a gun in their mouth, and that's not where I don't want to play around with any kind of anything like that, right? Man, and what's sad is this person 3 weeks ago swore she would have stood in front of a train for me, and I believed her because I was still green. I'm still green to all of this, right? And I believed her. I believed this woman would have stood in front of a train, and now.
So that was about another case, and that was on June. What did I say? June 22nd. Yeah. So then the first video that pops up about summer is the one I'm showing.
These folks were not social media.
Just strange. I haven't been looking at chat, guys. Does Penny have the password to that chat? I mean, to that channel? I don't know. I can't tell you who it is, but it's there. Why were they saying that his channel was taken down? That's crazy. All right, well, obviously somebody wants us to see the videos from day one, so let's watch.
Media giants. This is, I guess, a talk about why social media is so dangerous. I had a visit today, and I'm not going to talk about it. I'll just tell you I had a visit today from the folks. Let me tell you this, and understand it when I tell you that the level that this thing has gotten to is absolutely putrid. It's filthy. There's just no way. You ever seen a third group of humans doing some shit that you know they can never come back from? Hey, Lulu, you watch a bunch of humans do shit that you know they can never come back from. And I don't even know anymore. Right? But let me get back to the social media and why it's so dangerous. Oh, am I? Cool. I think there was some changes, right? The people came, man, they came. But anyways, so you got Don, and you got Candy, and you got all these other people who've never been popular online, right? That's the issue here. Is it's the magnetic draw, whether it be negative or positive. It's a draw that comes from the social media, right? Now, I don't know whether or not Don and Candace know that what they're doing is actually feeding into the inferno that's now nipping at the heels of what remains of their family. I don't know if they know that or not. If they do, then I would have to ask the question to them, like, man, are you in love with this shit? Are you in love with this shit? Because let me tell you what, in America, when your child goes missing, it missing. It doesn't matter how you behave. Doesn't matter. John Kelly, he about, I don't know, just last week, 3, 4, 5 days ago, he released a video and he did a profile on that situation. And the thing that he stressed on was that do not judge the wells based upon how you think they look to your eyes. Yeah, AB's a joke. Don't do that, right? Now, what's happening is that if you go to Donald's, and I will say this, Don, man, whatever you got going on over there with the social media is not helpful. Not what it's turned into, buddy. You've got a real melting pot of hate going on in your Facebook commentary right now.
Okay, I'm back. I missed what he said, so let me go. No, she doesn't. Just know it's needed. And they knew it, but no, not Benny. Gonzo is outliving his best life. Yeah. I think he needs to be spoken about too, huh? Eyes on the road, Benny. Is he making any money on his channel? Someone is controlling it for him, or I have no clue. It wasn't up. Well, the videos weren't all up this morning, I promise you. Like, I looked at it this morning and there was hardly anything on it, just a few things. You think Penny? She has control of his other channel, doesn't she, Sin? All right, well, let's let it play.
You know what, Lizzie, this is the deal. I would bet the ranch on the fact that they'll never know the answer to whether or not she was dead or alive. That's really, I mean, at this stage, it's inconsequential. Consequential.
Okay, I think that was important going back that long ago, but let me tell you guys, my children did not end up coming home from where they were setting off fireworks. So I still have the baby. He may wake up to eat. So if I disappear, just so you know, I'm still here just feeding the baby or whatever, but they should be back very shortly. So I might just have to step away for a moment.
That was important in the beginning, right? But now it's like, this is so butchered. I don't know how, people fix their fingers in their mouth to call the police and say some wild shit 870 times in a row, and there was not one that was accidentally right. Let me say this: if you've got channels and platforms online that are contributing to the cesspool that's going on in Hawkins County, what the fuck are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? Right? It's impossible. You know what? It's impossible to expect empathy. Empathy leaves as soon as you start a YouTube channel. Let me tell you that. For the most part, empathy leaves because people are completely unempathetic when it comes to people's situation online. Now, to get back to the social media, Don and Candace, they went from probably never breaking 10 likes on a post before. Now, whatever they say, it's getting the worldwide attraction. And that is something that I don't have. I know what it's like for the pull from my channel, right? I have the same feeling, right? When you have a lot of bells, whistles, and all the stuff going off, and little flags and numbers and comments, and it's like, It's stimulating. I get it. But what Don and them never, us that follow the true crime and moreover, the children's sector of that, we know what the families are going to go through before they go through it. We know right now, let's predict the future. We know right now in the next 6 months, let's just push it that far out. In the next 6 months, another kid is going to go missing and another family is going to be blamed. That's for sure. We know that for certain 100%, right?
I agree with that. Always happens. And Michael Vaughn, his family was blamed. Sad. And it still goes on today. Look at Sebastian. I'll agree with Benny there. Yeah, whoever unprivated these, thank you.
Right? What else do we know? We also know who's going to be in the forefront of making sure that these families stay down in the dumps, right? So 870 times, no one was even accidentally right. Now, I see a trend with these YouTubers, right? These YouTubers, every single thing that they get involved in, you want to know what happens? The actual family says, this is enough. This is enough. Right? This is enough. We all know about the Shanann Watts situation with Frankie and that family. Sure. Okay, so that's called ad hominem. Ad hominem is when Benny makes a great point and you're like, oh, Benny, you're ugly. Or Benny makes a great point and you're like, oh, Benny, your ears are big. Or you're like, Benny.
I gotta say it. Oh, Benny, your beard's weird. Sorry. It's a thing.
Hey, you're stupid. Right? That's called ad hominem. Ad hominem means you're attacking someone's character instead of the position they maintain. Um, you can't do nothing with an idiot like that. That's a fucking snake eating its own tail. You don't even need toilet paper for that because at the end it wipes its own ass and then disintegrates into ash. So, but yeah, the social media. It doesn't matter what happens. Now, I think that I want to err on the side of comedic relief, but I today people were posting things that.
All right, dude, we get it. Please don't be rude. Stop the free Benny or I'm blocking you. He's free. He's at home. He's probably sitting back and watching this, not able to comment. Or maybe he's you. I don't know. Please stop. Okay. We're freeing Benny. We're freeing his videos. He looks like an Amish reject. Be nice. We got the videos unprivated. We can try, right?
Candace allegedly was posting, right? A couple of bigger, heavier set folks on top of each other in a bed, and just some weird stuff. If you're looking for that family, everything they do to be weird, right? So I think she's just having fun with you, right? She's not they're not criminally sophisticated in a way that they're going to be able to do all they've done beating the technology, and she goes in and she beats a polygraph machine. Now that's via her own account. There has been no law enforcement account that backs that, but it stands to reason that she's saying she passed the polygraph. There hasn't been any shift in the focus towards them in a way that we would know about it. So it stands to reason that she did um, not beat the box, but pass the test. There's two ways that you come up clean on a polygraph in America. One is the naysayers will say you beat the machine or you beat the box. That's when you're actually guilty, but trick the machine, beat the box, right? Or you pass the test, and there you go. So um, it's
Lawson confirmed they passed the test. That's what the public has to go on. Here's the problem with that. The police are also able, thank you, Jill, as I've shown, lie to the public. However, the day Candace took the test, Dawn was very excited and came out and said she passed. She passed. I took it as he looked relieved, like, oh, I can believe her now, or he looked relieved, we just got out of some shit. I would go, it's part of the first half of that, just because of my feelings on that news clip. We could watch that another time.
as far as YouTube is concerned. This is the funny thing, and I'm at the house now. So this is the funny thing about the YouTube, and I'm going to close with this, guys. And it's not even funny; it's shameful, right? So these YouTubers have jumped on. Let me tell you, there's a gentleman that's in the forefront right now, and I've followed 3 cases that he's followed. And let me tell you what, he has absolutely, I mean, just helped evaporate these cases. The last case that we were on, he was actually exposed by the news for, his part in bullying someone that was not involved. This is a trend, and I'll be honest with you guys. I started a Facebook channel. It's called Stop Victim Blaming. If you're not a part of that, please think about going on over there and joining. It's NBA.
And that's why they say that polygraphs aren't conclusive, right? I'm so sorry that happened, Saint. Sad. That's why they're not supposed to go by polygraph tests, because it does happen where they come back and they're wrong, you know? However, it is an investigative tool, like Hattie said, and it does help in some cases. And if you're polygraphing several people, like Dawn, Candace, and Grandis, and they all come back truthful, then you have to look at it that maybe the polygraphs were truthful, right? Because there were 3 taken.
Hey, it's big leagues, no bullshit allowed. And we just want to focus on just disseminating information to people. You want to know how many minds I've changed this week in regards to how they thought and felt about um, about how they felt, Monday. They thought this and that, and were commenting this and that about Don and
Okay, so this is the first live. However, his videos are unprivated too. And at this point, I noticed quickly, briefly, just looking over, that he had a lot of videos done too. So we'll watch this live and then we'll go to a video, if that's okay with you guys.
Candace. And now here it is Friday, and they've joined a Stop Victim Blaming Facebook page, and they've come around right? They've done a 180. So that's a beautiful thing, right? Um, not just one this week, in the range of 80 or 90 interactions I've had. That's just a ballpark. 80 or 90 interactions I've had this week about people who have changed their positioning. And let me tell you what, um, I love all of you guys. Now, there's this, there's this desensitization. Desensitization. There you go. When you spend very much time on YouTube. And I'll say this for the most part, that the people on Facebook are very receiving to this message. And so if you're not a part of what I'm trying to put together on Facebook, please go ahead and jump on over there, because I'm going to go with the path of most resistance. And with that means that I'm going to be using the YouTube essentially for what I had designed my channel to do in the beginning, and that was to maintain a position and to not falter or alter from that positioning.
Well, he's done that. He's faltered and altered. Hi, Vicky. Aw. Yeah, fireworks, I guess, were delayed here. It's 11:15. I don't know. I haven't even heard them. I usually hear them popping from downtown in my living room. I don't hear them. I don't know if the rain cut them out or I just missed them because the air's on. But this shows that he had Facebook interaction early on. That's when Squall was on Facebook, so that's good to know.
And the issue when I started was that I didn't want to deal with Facebook, because I had this assumption already built that what I was dealing with on the Facebook or on the YouTube was going to be reminiscent of what I was going to deal with on the Facebook, because until this week, it's been 3 years since I've dealt with anything on Facebook. So there's been a lot of adjusting to how it works in the mindset. But for the most part, if someone has um, on Facebook, you can agree to disagree on Facebook, and you don't have to worry about CPS coming to your house. On YouTube, however, it's as soon as you enter the portal of YouTube, it is an ego magnifier, and it plays on me that way too, um, and I know that, so I don't get caught up in what people say to me anymore, and um, I I'm going to be doing a lot more of the interaction part, the interacting. I want to do that on the Facebook, because I just feel like it's integrating the best of both worlds. Well, you know what I mean, Lizzie. At this point, the only safe bet to be a decent human being is to follow this like law enforcement is with that positioning. So
I have a question. Does anybody know if Lizzie was on previous cases with Benny, or did they meet through the Summer Wills case? Does anybody know that?
you if you're wrong at the end of this, well then you're wrong on the same side as law enforcement and as technology, right? If a scanner or a helicopter or an FBI agent was tricked, that's pretty good company to be tricked with, right? I'd rather be tricked on the side of that. So I could never be wrong in that respect. But it's not about being wrong, right? The way that I'm thinking is the exact template. You will never see a policeman walk up and start victimizing verbally, and it's went to real life for Don and Candace, but um, um, for a policeman to walk up in their time of need and say, "Oh, you look like you're on benzos, and you got caught with a gun when you weren't supposed to have it, and you had this and you had that." Well, guess what? Even if it was 24 seconds before little Summer went missing, you know what? There's nothing Don or Candace could do that would warrant someone taking that child away from them. I don't care if they never paid a fucking dime in taxes. They rip off everybody that they know. They front dope from every dope dealer. I don't know what the fuck they do. But all of that, you could sell your soul to the devil, and that doesn't give someone the right to take your child. And that doesn't give someone else the right to blame you.
I don't know how I feel about the blame you part, right? Especially with conditions and things. But I agree. There's no reason for somebody to take somebody's fucking. I shouldn't say the F word. There's no reason for anybody to take somebody's child. Sorry, it slips. I have a foul mouth. Is he selling it, Cheddar, or do you think he was? That's what I'm saying. We have to figure out. We're going to go back and watch the videos. There might be one dated prior to this. We'll check it out.
Yes, they're being now. Let me tell you this in closing. Now, I've heard and read a lot of shit with my own eyes. Oh, Don and Candace are dumbasses. They're retarded. They're this or that. Well, guess what? Right now, today, they're innocent. So you know how dumb you look doing what you do online against people that the police are not arresting today. You know how fucking stupid you look? Bam, just like that. Now, guess what? The way that there's a split in this community, it makes my work simple. And let me tell you why. No, you're right. I'm sorry for that. Let me tell you why it makes my work so easy. And this is the reason. Because I don't have to work through and navigate all the people that cloak themselves like they're good people and actually they're bad. Because on YouTube, there is no wolf in sheep clothing. If you're a wolf, you're just a wolf. You could never get these people to have couth. You could never.
Tragedy pimps, and that's why he's so damn confusing. I agree. 100%.
Never get these people to even try to run game. You can never get these people to act like, at the very least, act like they're not going to victim bash. See, let me tell you, if you acted real nice and you had a big platform, you could just pull a seat right up next to Dan and Don and Candace, right? And then you could start doing what the news does with them and get the information firsthand, and you don't have to spin a web to try to catch some shit. It'll be told to you from the horse's mouth. But no, because your ego is intact fully, it makes you feel better to attack these people and spin whatever your fantastical mind can make up today. You're like a kid waiting for the toy and a Happy Meal. And then there's that look of when you die inside because you're a little boy and they gave you a girl toy, or because they just didn't give you a toy, or because you already got that toy last week. Those are the kind of letdowns that children have. And that's what we're looking at right here, right?
Yes, I believe he was coming off the Cash Gurnan case. He had a lot of problems in that case as well. I don't know the history of it because I didn't follow that case at all, so I can't comment on it. I mean, we could go back and watch those, but I'm just mainly curious about Summer. This is the first live that's on this channel that was deleted for years, over a year, right? He come out with the Benny Keys 214 or whatever. The baby's waking up. Yeah, he changed his mind a bunch of times and turned against them as well. It's a whole lot of crazy, 3 years of craziness in this community, generally speaking. For sure. Tragedy pimps. But he was having problems with, like, him and a lot of the same creators followed these other cases. I really should go back and watch it all one day. All right. I don't know how much time I have. YouTube's always moving.
There is no reason for that. You're right, Falling. It's all about the money. Guess what? You do all this slanderous shit to get all these fucking pay pools, these cash apps, these super chats, and you know what they do with it? They got to slander and beat up the fucking Wells family, and the fucking West family, and the Gurnan family, and the Sherrod family. And you know what they do with that money? They buy their Xanaxes, and they buy their booze, and they buy their machines to grow their pot. That's what they do with the money they make from the suffering off of people off of YouTube. That's what they do. They're not staffing an organization to help kids. They are one-man bands that band together with other fuckheads to try to swindle old people alike, young people alike, out of their money. There's people on these fucking platforms donating money that are picking between getting their gout medicine or thinking that this money is going to pay for some soil samples, or this money is going to pay for a Cash Gurnan funeral. Man, y'all people ain't shit. No, Dina, you want to know why they do so much picking? Is because when you look at their life, it is actually a toilet bowl. Look at them, all of them. Fuck, one guy, you don't even know what he looks like. Because it's real fucking easy in the house of the devil to throw a stone and hide your hand. Fuck you, me.
Oh, I hate that, how YouTube has a video just start. I think you can stop that. I need to do that. I had to filter through a lot of channels, and I'm so happy that I found you. Some of the things that I'm hearing, unbelievable. They've made this a cash cow, and it's not even about the children anymore. It's crazy. This true crime community is crazy, and thank you for that comment. All right, so the first video I could find, YouTube family, Darian Brown, Cash Gurnan, Orrin and Orson, but see, there's Marissa, right? How to get rich on YouTube. glorifying gangbanging to a kid if you want. That's right before summer. It's only 19 seconds long. I'm not gonna click on it, but we'll go here. Summer wells and some valuable educational demographics. July 4th, 2021. So this is prior to the last one.
Happy 4th of July, you guys. How you guys doing? Still no surgery, but we're waiting patient. God is doing his work. Been away for a while, and it's going to continue to be like this for the most part. I'm working on some different stuff as far as the YouTube and social media is concerned, and when I get it polished to a very fine shimmer, I'll be back. But don't get confused that I'm not following this Summer Wells situation, although I refuse to rub shoulders and argue with the rest of the dumbasses out there. I am following it. And I'd like to say one thing. Right now, when I go online and I look at that, you want to know what I do? I just jump in the comments and I find all the same players, right? And I just go in there and I say, oh, there you are again, victim bashing. Don't victim bash on July 4th, right? We're all free today. We're all free from the oppression of the nasty, vicious, bated breath of financially struggling YouTubers. But anyways, I would like to add this in regards to the Summer Wells case. I've seen every single person on here bash the Wells, right? I will say something. Unfortunately, in that geographic of the world, it seems as if education is hard to come by. So, with that being said, I don't see those two as these criminal masterminds that are able to put anything together. If they do, I'll change my mind, and I'll be on their neck harder than the rest of you. Fuck you, me.
Well, we know he changed his mind, right?
Happy Observance Day. Happy Observance Day. And so I was just trying to think, like, man, what's the psychology behind victim blaming, man? I've said before, I think that part of the psychology is people that, had a tragedy of some sort in their life and did not receive the sort of advocacy that they wish they had had. And so now, as they've, hopefully matured through those tragedies and situations, what you have is people that have a bias, or it's almost a, racism. Racism is a hard word to say in that context, but people that are sort of racist and biased against people that are helping other people. They're like, oh, I hate advocates because they didn't advocate for me, and so on and so forth. So I would tell you that a fair number of these victim blaming platforms, they've also got issues in their own life with their children of some facet. And so it's always easier to point out the stick in someone else's eye when you have a log jammed in your own, right? I've heard a lot of people say, oh, Candace Wells talks like she's on pills or benzos or she's drunk. Well, fuck. Look at Molly Golightly. Look at the pot dealer AB. You know what I mean? Like there's some people out there that, again, so
if you want to start looking at, if you judge these content creators by the way that they judge, like the way they judge these other people. So then, there's people out there. Let's say you have a Down syndrome child, for instance. Let's talk about AB. AB has a Down syndrome handicapped child. So is it okay to say that AB deserves to have his child be that way because of something he did in his past? Right? Is that what we're doing? Is for instance, is AB a victim? Is he, did God victimize him? I don't know. But I think that you can kind of look at the other side of the coin like, well, let's see. If you're capable of coming up with all these crazy fucking ideas about what you think the Wells did with Summer, kind of stands to reason that if your mind is that creative, those are the things that you would find yourself doing. Yeah, I think there's no limit to what Molly Golightly has done and will do to her child. Look what she does to herself. Happy Observance Day. Support the Wells. Where's Summer? Fuck y'all, mean. Good morning, YouTube. I hope everybody enjoyed the 4-day, 3-day July 4th of July weekend. Man, I guess the new theory is that Summer Wells was in the back seat sleeping.
July 6, 2021.
Rather, forever sleeping on a jug of milk. Boy, if you don't shut your bitch ass up. Man, look, this is the deal. I see I'm going to have to do this on every case that you dumbasses cover. Man, look. You're a victim blamer if you ever step out in front of one of these cases and start saying that parents are to blame for things before the police say it, right? The thing that I find very, very intriguing is the fact that, well, I've worked on, I guess, 3 cases, Orrin and Orson West, which is one, Cash Gurton, and I'm watching this one, right? I'm not in love with the YouTube no more, right? I have, reintegrated myself into actual society. So what that means is when you reintegrate yourself as a YouTube creator back into real life, you start to give a fuck less and less and less about what people on YouTube say about you.
Wonder if he has that feeling today. I mean, since he's court ordered not to be on YouTube.
I don't know where it all stands, right? I wanted to speak on AV Watchman for a minute, right? Because AV Watchman does a lot of blaming on every case he's ever worked on, which is 2 or 3. He fucked around to Cash Gurton. He's fucked up the Orrin and Orson West case. He was wrong on the Cash Gurton case, and
I see him tiptoeing around in this godforsaken Summer Wells case. Let me ask you this, AV and AV News crew. Here you guys over here are like two monkeys fucking a football. Meanwhile, you keep telling everybody historically, I'm going to work Destiny's case. I'm going to work. First of all, either shit or get off the pot. Okay. Secondly, my contention is that you fucking losers just say what you need to say in the exact moment with no foresight and no hindsight. And some of these dumbass YouTubers, professional commenters, who have so much to fucking say but won't start their own channel, you gaslight these people. You gas them up, right? So, AV Watchman had a stepdaughter, right? He claims someone else was driving. They had an accident and she died. Well, if that were the case, and his contention is that the gentleman that was driving, which was his daughter's love interest, was intoxicated and then ran away from the scene. So let's step back. We all know AV Watchman is a huge piece of shit. So is it safe to say that the tragedy that AV feels he endured with his stepdaughter dying, that he actually didn't have a lot of contact with, is it his fault that she died? Is it?
I just want y'all to know, I hate shit like this, so I'm gonna speed it up till he talks about Summer again.
I don't know. I mean, if you ask the lot, I mean, ask Molly Golightly. Steve's a piece of shit, been in prison for doing piece of shit stuff. So is it his fault Destiny died? I don't know. I certainly feel like there's the potential that anytime a parent loses a child in a tragic circumstance, that there probably is some guilt that the parents put on themselves, step parents as well. But what you see every day online is out of control. They are now zooming in on Summer Wells' hands in the back seat. They're giving it nice, medical terms like levity, and her right hand is swollen because whatever the fuck. Let me tell you this. Don and Candace, they've never put together anything criminally active without getting caught the very day they did it, right? So all of a sudden, we've got Candace Bly and we've got Donald Wells never been able to successfully put together any sort of criminal background that they got away with. This is a lot bigger than, getting caught with pills or drinking and driving or domestic violence, or this is way bigger than that. So it really stands to reason, if you can't get caught, if you can't get away with stealing a stick of bubble gum from the Sack and Save, you probably aren't putting together this 3-week, month-long disappearance of a little girl where there's been fucking agents of every sort literally fine-tooth combing the area around there. I've seen so many commenters talking about one thing or another in particular. Like they come into a comment box and they're like, oh, this, that, and the third. And then someone immediately jumps on there and they're like, no, you're incorrect. And then their comment thread just stops, right? So to all of those who have bashed the victims in the Orrin and Orson West case, shame on you, right? Very tricky, slippery slope when you think in terms of who's a victim in the Orrin and Orson West case, right? Um, a mother and two fathers who have completely lost their parental rights and access to those children fully, they're not so much a victim. That doesn't mean that in the end, when you get through this thing, that you couldn't label them as a victim. Right now,
So much has changed since then, huh? Listen to him, because this is even prior to Dawn and Candace's boys being taken. Just weird to go back and listen to it.
they are just people who have lost all rights to children. Those two particular children. So, I don't know. The real victims in that case are, adoptive parents. And until the police switch up their ideology, um, adoptive parents are victims right along with the boys. So, Cash Gernon, we had people out there trying to make.
Hey guys, the kiddos just came in from the 4th of July, so I'm going to be sitting here talking to them. I'll switch the video when it's done. But I'm here, but I told you guys when they came in, I probably had to step away for a minute. Okay, 1 second. My daughter-in-law's going. She sounds you exhausted. How was the fireworks?
It was okay. They got them wet, so half of them didn't fucking work. Rosie is lit.
Hold on, I'm still unmuted. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna let this play.
Darian Brown crazy so he could essentially be, dissolved or resolved of any responsibility, and put it on Monica. And now here we are, breaking down the Wells family. And I don't know. It's a sick thing. It's a sick thing. It'd be one thing, it'd still be victim blaming. But it'd be one thing if you were one of the victim blamers that prefaced your blaming by saying, hey, you know what? Today, I'm going to jump out of character and I'm going to blame the victim. But as soon as the police change their focus, I'll change my focus. Or if I'm wrong, I'll publicly say, hey, I'm wrong. Maybe I need to reevaluate what it is I'm doing because I am not helpful. Monica Figueroa, or whatever, pardon me, whatever that young girl's name is that's missing out there in Palmdale, Lancaster. AV Watchman went on this fucking YouTube, I don't even know how many times, saying that old simple shit like, oh, we know where her body is. Or remember when they got stuck in the fucking desert and he ripped off AV Matt's fucking bumper? Oh my God, that was the description of the truck that was out in this area burying a body. Man, you haven't found you haven't found shit. And I start to wonder if you can find your own dick when it's time to pee. How the fuck do you keep driving? Because I know you're human. You lose your car keys just like the rest of us. How the fuck do you find your car keys? Because online, it looks as if you can't find two fucking socks that match. Fuck you mean.
want to talk about crowd pleasing real quick. So I'll tell you, as a content creator, when you initially break into this true crime community, um, and you start to create relationships, I said relationships with other content creators, you find yourself tiptoeing around in the beginning. Like, what do I do? Where do I go? What side? And you quickly realize that you are dealing with an audience. When you segregate yourself in a way, you find that there's more people that want to victim blame and victim bash and be entertained by other people's pain, tragedy, and misfortune. Um,
Again, July 6th. I'm still in and out. My daughter-in-law took the kids upstairs, but they may be leaving again or something. I don't know. They're coming back down. So I'm in and out, but videos are still playing.
and they're very limited with the capacity. The cap is just, it's short off the top of the head. The reach does not go deep, wide, or very far at all. So when you decide that you want to make money from YouTube, you have to go where the audience is largest, and you also have to entertain that larger audience with the kind of shit that they'll click on. Not only that, but the kind of shit they'll click on and then donate money to you for, right? So there is this extra large fucking incentive, monetarily, to be a piece of shit online and bash victims. Fuck you mean. Good evening. Good afternoon. So I must have missed the news media that I saw today, just now, right now. So allegedly, right? I guess we all know that some searchers set up the reward fund.
July 6th, first mention of the word reward fund, same day as the last video.
So somebody sent a $20,000 check to a newspaper, and the newspaper called the donor and said, "We can't do anything with this. You got to come get it." They came and got it. Now they can't reach that person. $10,000 check. The person said they'll just sit on it. That leaves a remaining $250.
So that was that. What was he? A doctor, an author, or something? Him and his wife did the first reward, and then Trev would have been the 10,000, right?
I'm not sure what the hell's going on out there. But right now, it's just a big fucking mess. Rewards are funny things, aren't they? Yeah. So, I'm not really sure who the donors were. Of course, I don't think anybody does except for the donors and that small network of people that's, involved in making that decision. Man, I bet you it's a greasy ass YouTuber. has to be a YouTuber. Both of those people have to be YouTubers, by the way, that money was, you know. So I don't know. It's a sad testament to the status of what's going on out there. You know, just the basic necessity.
At the time, not YouTubers. One's an old man and his wife. One has become a YouTuber on a channel he follows Chris McDonough around. I'm a little curious about that.
That I think the officers in the more you know, in the faster paced settings, they take a lot of the technology that makes their job easy for granted. You know, the officers out there are dealing with severe cellular signal issues. Also, they've got a sort of a patchwork makeshift, you know, CD or whatever you know, over the radio system. So two-way. I just don't know. You know, it's a really hard deal. So you know, you got to know when the resources are that limited at home base. You know, but anyhow, that's the update on that. I don't know that it's an update. I not that I heard a lot of people. I don't listen to people yap, but I find it interesting that that's the scenario with the monies. $250. Fuck you, mean.
So the next one doesn't look like it has anything about summer in it, so I'm going to skip it. July 7th, 2021.
Good morning. Good morning. So I saw that there's a young man out there in Tennessee who put together a prayer vigil or like a community prayer. Nobody came. I don't know if it's because nobody knew, but it was just the Wells family and the gentleman that organized it. And, you know, you don't want to rush to judgment in a situation, any situation. But, you know, especially a situation like that, because if you want to believe that people knew and just didn't show up, then what you have is you have a community, I guess, that's passed judgment on these folks, and they don't support them, stand behind them. Let me tell you what. As someone that advocates for other people, it's tedious, and let me tell you why. I'm giving out I'm giving the secret ingredient to the recipe, right? So let me tell you how it should be done. If you had Kuth, we'll give you a little clinic now on how to run a YouTube true crime channel.
Okay. So what you're going to want to do is find the nearest genre of crime that's closest to your heart, and you start there. So for this video, we'll be choosing child disappearances or abductions or issues with children. So what you first want to do, what I do, is I'll go to the social medias, because you have, more oftentimes than not, you have, well, all the time the information travels through the Facebook and yada, yada, yada. So more oftentimes than not, what you have is you have a scenario where, like Candace and Donald with their Facebook and their TikTok, they've seen a literal explosion of activities on the Facebook and stuff. And although they do probably deal with a lot of bad stuff, there also is some good stuff in there. I've went and looked at it myself. So you go to the Facebook or you go wherever they're active, and you make contact with them through positivity, right? So you model yourself for being a good human. That's the initial qualification to run something smooth, positive, and in the fairest likeness of God. So you go in and you make yourself available to this family, right? Or these families. And so everyone should be an advocate in heart, in spirit, and in channel, right? So when you advocate for these people, you come in with honey and sugar. You come in with the sweet and the positivity, and you bring the God with you, right? And you yoke yourself, you align yourself with these people based upon your positivity, based upon the resources and the help that you can make available to these people, right? So for instance, we use the pizza, and a lot of people make fun of that, but it's the food train, right? It's the buffet, the food buffet, when there's tragedy or even great things that happen in a church, babies being born, so on and so forth. People from the church, there's love, and there's nourishment in food and healing and all those great things. And so it's in the likeness of God to share meals with people, based on their need. So you don't have to publicly ask the Wells if they want a pizza, right? Out of your heart and out of what and people that make fun of sending pizzas, guess what? When their family was in need, nobody sent the pizza. They went hungry. They never went, they never put themselves out there on the strength of someone else and accepted that gift from someone who may have less or who may have more, but accept that in your time of vulnerability, because vulnerability is the thing that people try to scratch and cover up and lie and steal and manipulate to try to admonish or absolve the idea that they themselves are vulnerable. You get all sorts of different behavior in that vulnerability. But when you accept help during your vulnerability, your vulnerable moments, what you're doing, to your ego is you're accepting the fact that you're vulnerable. Now, if you are a snake, and if you're a snake, then you're used to accepting and asking for help when you're vulnerable, right? So now, I myself, I don't know about who sends what to Summer Wells or Don Wells and Candace. I don't know what they send, but you don't have to ask permission to send them a cheese pizza or two, right? Because They got all, they got the boys, they got the two of them. So you don't have to ask for stuff like that. Now, getting back to what your mission is as a channel holder and an advocate and a human with a heart, right? So you go in with the honey. You're always going to attract.
Okay, so I don't know what he's referencing, but at this time, Sanchez and Squall and all of them were starting to come in and they were taking donations for the house. I agree. If they're hungry, feed them. Feed their kids. Show empathy. I agree. Send flowers. I agree. Send a card with a gift card in it. However, I don't agree. Let's redo their whole house, even though we don't know who's guilty and who's not guilty. And let's just fix everything up, fight with the neighbors, bring tons of people up here, make the street they live on and the area they live on uncomfortable. There's a point that it has to stop. YouTubers going there, everything that has happened is extremely too much, in my opinion. However, I agree. You want to send them a pizza? That's the compassionate thing to do. Funny how Ernie took them a pizza. That's not the compassionate thing to do.
More flies with honey and shit. So what you're doing is you're doing what your creator would want you to do. You're helping someone the best you can. Meanwhile, that's on the left hand. You're doing all those things. And on the right hand, because you're an advocate, and part of being an advocate is being a mandated reporter. Now, not mandated by the state. I'm mandated by my own convictions, or she is mandated by her own convictions, that if you see issues with children, you'll speak up. So you've mandated yourself spiritually to report if you see issues. That's in the right hand. So meanwhile, you're running these parallel missions, these parallel campaigns, helping the family. This is how you become the most useful, bilingual, in a sense, asset or instrument. 2 cases with missing children. Now, if you want to cover, all the other bullshit, man, and it's a grown adult and they're out in the real world fucking up, man, take their ass to the cleaners. But when it's kids, you got to be very sensitive, right? You have to accept the fact that at different points, you're not going to have all the information. You have to accept the fact that at some point, you may never have all the information. So meanwhile,
he's right about that. And still to this day, 3 years later, almost 3 years to the date he made this video, we still don't have all the facts. So that was a correct statement back then.
With the ideology, some people say, the ideology is, well, even if they're tearing up the family, they're still keeping Summer's, images and her likeness, relevant in all of this. That's not what you're doing. What you're doing is you're polluting a platform. It's pollution, right? Because if it doesn't get taken down and you make money off of it, off the negativity and the nasty slander and defamation, when you start making money, subscribers, Cash App, super chats, that's
what I never understand about Benny is he says things like this, but then he turns around and does exactly what he's discriminating against. He's done exactly what he's saying here.
reinforcement and incentive to remain victim blaming. So that means fuck Summer Wells, fuck Candace Wells, fuck Don Wells, and fuck the three boys. That's what that means. Okay? Now, it is so easy to do it.
Tiffany, it's not infatuation. It's really not. What it is it's us going back to figure out what the hell happened in Summer's case. Where did the marathon come from? Where did the billboards come from? Oh, she was all over and with the UK people.
The way God would want you to do these things. Right? So while you're running your parallel campaign, investigation, whatever you want to call it, they're parallel. The very moment on this right hand here, that these people that you've been treating this kind of way and doing these sort of things for, guess what? When you're sweet to them, they're going to give you information and they're going to give you lots of it. Case in point with Monica Sherrod, right? I was a great human being to her. I'm still a great human being to her. And so it's limitless what I know in regards to that situation.
I have many, 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 many concerns about Lady Justice. Many. I don't understand why she was in with so deeply with Griffey, Libby, Chip. I have so many concerns about Lady Justice, especially being she's a bail bondsmith. I've reached out to her. She never answered me back. Yeah, be the bean. She definitely did, and she continues, she continued for a long time to play games, especially even what she did on White Boys. I thought it was Tiffany. If it ain't Tiffany, it ain't Tiffany. I don't care. She comes in here acting like Tiffany sometimes. Just be nice tonight. Y'all can stay if you're not ignorant.
All cases could be the same in regards to the YouTube. Guess what? Guys, you'll still get the money and the clicks for the positive shit. And you'll have the first-hand information. Now, what I see is a lot of creators that have clearly missed the boat with that. They just think in their mind because they see someone else doing the advocating in God's work in the name of those people, that in order to get in and eat at that table, they got to do the other shit, which is, man. So that's the lesson for today. You attract more flies with honey than shit. And the very moment, Candace Wells or Donald Wells steps out of pocket and they go out of bounds, and now at that point, if it were to become very clear that they had something to do with the disappearance of Summer Wells, then you get in their scalp like a helmet. Then and only then. Meanwhile, because you have to understand that these people in Tennessee, they don't have the New York metropolitan, the Los Angeles metropolitan, Dallas, Texas metropolitan court system. It's still churches in Tennessee that handle snakes and fire. It's a little bit different. So now you put all this bullshit out here on this fucking thing in remote rural Tennessee is infected by it. Now this family goes and has, the police haven't they didn't have that prayer circle from the jailhouse. They had it in the free world. So that means this should have been people wrapped all the way around them people, supporting them with flowers. Guess what?
So why did he turn against them same people that did the prayer circle? He started making fun of Timmy, and remember that? He was very supportive of them back then. But I mean, in all honesty, I was too. So you think they're doing a good thing, right? So that's something we look for. When did that change?
YouTube took that away from them, and they stood alone as a family. But online, they got all kinds of fucking help. Man, I tell you what, y'all people ain't shit, and you know who you are. I don't even know who all of you are. Good day.
July 8th, 2021.
This video is for Donald and Candace and the family. Don, Candace, I wish I had many answers for you this morning. Most of all, I wished I knew where your beloved Summer was. If I knew, I would have been turned her over to you. You obviously cannot say the same about the rest of the YouTube community. I have strong convictions that lead me to believe that if some of these YouTubers knew where Candace was, they wouldn't turn her over. It makes for better news. It makes for better YouTube content that she stays missing. Because the longer she stays missing, the longer we get to tear apart all the peripheral and auxiliary parts of the family. I actually have seen now that they weren't planting flowers, and actually that Candace and Grandma were cutting up Summer's body to put her where the flowers are now planted. Boy, Candace, Donald, you have to remember who you're playing with. Now, let me put it in terms so that not just you guys may understand, so that the rest of the world can understand. All right. Let's assume you step out of your house. This is for everybody. You step out of your house in the morning. What's the first thing you see? You see a rabid pack of pit bulls off the leash, and they're running towards you and what remains of your family. Not only that, those same pack of wild pit bulls with bad home training have made it impossible to this point, with over 840 leads, to get a single piece of anything handled. Thank you for that. Now, this is for Donald and this is for Candace. What you two need to understand is you cannot battle these people online. You will never whip the internet, Donald. You will never whip the internet, Candace. Even with a MIT degree, you will never whip the internet one time. Okay? So, if you want to continue to post whatever it is you want, you know what comes with that. So, this is what I implore you to do. If you're going to post to keep your family's whatever intact, post. But don't go looking for what they say about you, because that's already queued up in the comment. It's going to be the same comment for no matter what you post, sir. madam. Now, as far as all the biblical scripture and everything, I think that's a great thing. I think that it is a beautiful thing. But let me tell you what. Do not, to the Wells family, and moreover to the leader of that family, Donald, do not get caught in a spiritual war with people on YouTube that have no spirit. They have no soul. You cannot combat and you cannot, build a platoon to try to infiltrate people that have no Jesus in their heart. You know how you beat the devil? Not with a sword, axe, or a gun. You beat the devil by looking the other way. You beat the devil by seeing him sit on your couch, but you don't even acknowledge him. Acknowledgement is key when it comes to the devil. He's not really there if you don't look him in the eye. He's never been there. Not unless you open your door and you let him in. Or you open your heart and you let him in. The devil has never been in your life. Jesus, you never had to ask or invite him in. Now, he does like to be acknowledged as he likes to be acknowledged and invited into your heart as your personal Lord and Savior. But let you know this now, even without having done said invitation, God's still there. See, God will play a part in your life. God could convene and bring a child home. God could convene and do many, many beautiful things. But guess what? The devil and his tools, you have to pick those tools up for them to affect your life. Now, silently, all of us say a prayer for the Wells and say a prayer for the vicious, malicious YouTubers. You have to. See, it says in the Bible that you should want for your enemies the same thing you should want for yourself. So we can't want summer to come home and all the bountiful reapings of that harvest. We cannot want that without wanting that same thing for Molly Golightly, for AB, for Tiffany Marie, for John Q. See, you can't combat these people with words. You have to fight these people in all the bountiful reapings of that harvest. We cannot want that without wanting that same thing for Molly Golightly, for AB, for Tiffany Marie, for John Q. See, you can't combat these.
For those of you taking note, there's the first mention of John Q with the rest of them, with some of the others. Because she's in my chat, Casey K. Go, no, she can't do that. She'll do that again. Well, you know what? You come over here, you defend her. I don't know. I'm not sitting here trying to fight with people, but I'm not going to have that shit in my chat. She can come over here and be polite. I'll unblock her. But I'm not going to do it when she's going to make, sassy comments in my chat and I ain't saying shit to her. I've been letting her chat and not saying nothing, and she just keeps going and going and going. This is my channel.
These people with words. You have to fight these people in the name of God. It's the only.
Her good advice has helped to get this case to where it's at, Casey. I follow my intuition. I don't follow other people. I'm not a follower. I don't need her advice.
Only thing that's going to beat him. You can't beat AB. He lives in Canada. And he's got a heart.
Yes, still 2021. Yes, a ton has happened in the last 3 years. Tragedy. Yeah, this is July 8th, 2021. Be the bean.
Is hard as stone. He's fucked up about what God did to him. What God did to him was punish him for a past life. Right? And so now, because he has an issue with his child, it is now Candace and it is now Donald's fault that AB has an issue with his own child, that he feels malicious in spirit, malicious in action, that he need to self-appoint all of his days. He submits all of his days. He has no power over what he's going to do any particular day. The devil has a hold, and the devil is going to make sure he gets up every day and does the devil's bidding. Fuck you, mean.
Still July 8th, 2021.
You know, I was in my garden and I was thinking about fallacies. Fallacies are, the wild stories that we construct and convolute in our minds, and then we oftentimes, can twist things.
Diana, she understands that. She is a local. Hattie's a local. She understands and she knows what YouTubers that are local that have played fuck shit in this case. She's aware, but there's a lot of locals that do have a lot of insight as well, I think that's a part of why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, because we have to go through. I know I'm not all the way right. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go through this and see where it is we can pinpoint the changes in the case. I just wish someone could tell what happened to Summer and where she is. Me too, Paula. I think that's what all of us wish for. All of us, including Benny, including Tiffany Marie. And I'm sorry that I blocked her, but I'm not gonna, she doesn't need to come in my chat and be sassy. She asked me to quit commenting, so I did. I was doing what she wanted me to do, and then here she is, still getting smart ass in my comments. And then I'm told, oh, that's advice. I don't need her advice. Her advice has gotten her nowhere. So I'm just saying. If I see the baby in there, I'll skip the video. I will do that. Thank you for the reminder, Diana. I can be respectful and do that. I'm sure we all follow other cases, but Summer is really special to us. I really wish someone finds her. Well, let's just keep her name out there. This is how we do it. Even if, listen, you guys want to attack me? Fuck it. Go for it. As long as you mention Summer's name and her name stays relevant. I don't care no more. I just want this baby found as much as all of you do. I promise. Yeah, I think the data's going to find something. Hi, Andrew. Behave. You were good the other night. All right.
Up in our mind and incite other people to be as twisted. And then we project those onto the world.
right? Um, and that's a dangerous thing when you start to make your most demented, twisted ideology.
You know what, though, Hattie? I know a lot of my people that support me think that, and that's good. I love that. You know what I mean? But I do want to give these people an opportunity. I don't want to keep fighting with them. I want us all to get on the same page, and maybe we could do that rewatching this. I hate blocking Tiffany. I hate blocking people if they're coming in here and wanting to learn something together. You know what I mean? I don't want to do shit with people that's going to cause a divide. And that's what Tiffany does. She causes divide. Thank you, Andrew. All right, so I'm going to let this play for a little bit because I'm stopping too much. And I actually need to, I think all of my children may have fallen asleep. They were supposed to come back out, come down, and I was waiting for them. So I don't want like a video to end. These are all rather short videos. Yes, same page, find answers. I'm done with the attacks. I don't want to attack them unless it needs it. Like tonight, you know what I mean? She come in here, I could attack back. I'm not going to do that. That's not what I'm trying to do here. I want oops, sorry. All right, let's start this video again.
Be public, right? Because the world is watching, and the world, they're they're like a sponge during these times, and they're totally trying to soak up all the details and all the knowledge and the timeline, and what's this spot on this guy's shoe from 4 months before said tragedy or whatever, and it's got to be demoralizing, right? There is a thing called compassion fatigue. It is just where you could be at home, doing a positive, godlike inquiry into these things, and actually do some good, right? Because I'll tell you what, the God fearing part of the community, um, now this is real sick. The God fearing portion of this community, for instance, with the Summer Wells situation, the God fearing, good, positive, human aspect of this tragedy would be completely demoralized if Summer is never found, or if Summer is brought home in any condition other than how she left, right? The other very, very, very large portion of the negative community, because let me give you a segue into negativity. A negative life, in theorem to the person that is, involved in that kind of lifestyle, they believe that a negative lifestyle is harder to upkeep and maintain than a positive one. Or I mean, not yeah, yeah. Either way it works, the psychology is silly. It is a lot of work to keep a positive lifestyle going. It is a lot of daily upkeep every single day, whereas a negative one, you are just looking for prey. You roll out of whatever you sleep on, if you went to sleep, and you start looking for positive people to clip. Now, a lot of people, they don't want to kill these people. They just want to make sure that they've changed someone's agenda for the day, and that, potentially someone is going to manifest whatever slight you enacted on them, and then, manifest that into something, very toxic. And by the time they get home, you have this cascade of emotion that gets played out, or taken out on someone that isn't the perpetrator, right? That's
the base ideology for someone. I mean, that's the very least someone that leads a negative lifestyle, could want for someone else. What do you think these people that make these vicious videos about Summer Wells? What do you think their end game is? Is their end game to make Don and Candace and the rest of the family so downright fucking angry that it escalates into someone else hurting themselves or whatever? Because you know what, online, that is the human, for whatever reason, that's the human response to this kind of pressure, is to kill yourself, right? Because that's what the victims of bullying do to themselves ultimately in the end game. So that's what they ultimately want. They ultimately want to bash these families so hard that they kill themselves. Now, the other side, now, let me finish that thought. And when, hypothetically, Don and Candace kill themselves, the negative internet community will run rampant and wild with excitement. Now, the God-fearing, I'm going to walk you back through it. The God-fearing community, they want Summer to be brought home in the very condition she left. If it's any variation of the condition she left in, we will be crushed. Now, the negative, nasty, vicious, sleuthfoot, demonic content creators, if she's brought home dead, they will be elated because they're filled with the spirit of the devil. They will be elated. You want to know why? Because the story just starts then. Now you got a whodunit all over again, right? But guess what? It's automatically going to be Candace and Don. We know that. It doesn't matter if the guy who did it is caught red-handed with her body. They're still going to say some kind of way, he's crazy. That's what they did on the Darian Brown, Cash Kernan situation. They want to cut him loose because they got to have their own brand of redemption. So if Summer is found dead and they bring her home, guess what? Whoever done it, you're safe because they've already convicted Candace and Don. Fuck you, me.
We're looking for outsiders. Those who want the capability to climb this high and look good doing it. The Mazda CX-50. We're looking for outsiders.
My name is Lucy, and I have to figure.
You know,
Let me explain something to you real quick. You got the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. In week 1, they said, we'll never stop searching for Summer until we bring her home one way or another. Here we are about 22, 23 days in, and they don't have money to keep this going. So how about this? Molly Golightly, why don't you take your donations that you've made from this case and the Cash Kernan case and pay for this investigation to keep going? AB, with all the money you're making on YouTube, why don't you pay to keep this investigation going for her? Let me tell you why they won't. Javia, crime. Let me tell you why you won't put no money into it. First of all, because you're sleuth-foot and you're gluttonous. Greedy is what that means. Secondly, you need this to end bad for Summer. You need this to end bad for Summer, or else what will you do? You will have to lay in wait and do a bunch of this until the next kid goes missing, right? You need this, right? You need this to further your war against the Wells family and everyone in that community, right? What you've done is you've legitimately pulled all the resources away, right? You fucked around and you fucked around and you fucked around. The first 3 weeks of this case. Now, TBI's pulling off because they don't have the money because they spent the good money while you people were out here fucking up on it, right? We had good Tennessee tax-paying dollars in all the other agencies involved. We had those jurisdictions paying their tax money in order to come over here and look for Summer Wells, and you dumb motherfuckers have taken that away from everyone. So let me issue you a challenge. If you're a YouTuber and you're creating nasty fucking comments that have taken the police away from this shit, pay the money you've made on the YouTube into this fucking investigation or shut your bitch ass mouth. Fuck you mean. Good evening. Good evening. I'm going to bring a little clarity to the red or maroon pickup situation out of Hawkins County, Tennessee, the one that's involved with the Summer Wells case. So for the better part of 2.5 weeks now, you keep talking about this truck. Now, the clarity I'd like to bring is this. It started out a truck. Now I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke and try to convince you that I know every single detail about this truck. I do not. What I will tell you is it started out a red or maroon truck, and then it developed ladder rack or buckets in the back, yada yada yada. Right. So.
Damn it. Why do I do that? I leave the mute button. I said, I'm sitting here. I'm going to feed the little one. I'm still listening. Sorry the commercial came on before. I stepped away to heat the bottle up, and I heard it, and I hurried up and ran in here, and he was crying. I picked him up. He don't even want to eat yet. He just wants held. Say hello. Are you going to say hi? Mellow. He's staring at that bottle. He can't take his eyes off of it. All right, let me feed him. I'm going to let this play again.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm going to bring a little clarity to the red or maroon pickup situation out of Hawkins County, Tennessee, the one that's involved with the Summer Wells case. So for the better part of 2.5 weeks now, you keep talking about this truck. Now,
The clarity I'd like to bring is this. It started out a truck. Now I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke and try to convince you that I know every single detail about this truck. I do not. What I will tell you is it started out a red or maroon truck, and then it developed ladder rack or buckets in the back, yada, 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 right? So we've got every single person that we can think of, except for Molly Golightly, AB, Tiffany Marie, Crime Stories Obsessed, et cetera, et cetera. Except for those people, everyone's trying to help. You keep lying to us saying that the person in this red truck is a witness. Witnesses come forward. There isn't a person in Hawkins County in that neck of the woods that ain't heard about that fucking red truck. So guess what? The people driving the red truck, they don't believe the fucking hype either. They know they're not a witness, or else they'd have been came forward. I'll tell you what, if you know so much about the truck, I bet you somewheres there's a license plate. Now, let us not for one moment rest our laurels on the idea that this is someone, has to be someone from the locale right there. It does not have to be. It could be any sicko that wandered in off of a highway from another neighboring state or neighboring county, whatever. That person didn't even necessarily have to be there for Summer Wells. They could have just been down there and they've got something in their brain and on their heart and they see this little girl and then it's an easy snatch and grab, right? So, hey, this is what I say. You can't throw the money at the big picture, evidently. What you got to do is you got to throw some money at whoever drives that truck, right? Put some money on the head of the person who's driving the truck. Say, hey, we got 10 grand. 10 grand for whoever points out the person driving that truck. Let's get this fucking thing wrapped up. We're not looking for all these different fucking things. We're looking for one thing, right? You keep complicating this shit by saying that it's a witness. I've never seen a damn witness run away from the police unless they got some shit to hide.
Oh, thank you, Sassy. I'll say a better thank you in a little bit.
Let me tell you this. The level of criminal sophistication in Hawkins County, right there on the hill, is not complex in any sort of fashion. Every single thing those two have ever done, they've been jammed up for it. So now you think they graduated to murder of their own child and the disposal, the disposal of the corpse, and be able to trick dogs and be able to trick scanners and be able to trick helicopters and fucking searchers and agents from 80 wherever jurisdictions? Fuck you mean.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, this morning we want to talk about neglect. Neglect comes in many different forms, shades, and variations. A lot of times, someone who is neglectful themselves are the best at pointing out that things look neglectful. Now, guys, what I want to tell you is that while
AB is busy making videos about the Wells family. He's neglecting his daughter. If you ever hear AB say quiet on the set, that is him telling his Down syndrome daughter to be quiet while he's online. Yeah, he says it a lot. So you also got to look at the fact that Molly Go.
Yes, July 9th. And thank you so much, September. I'm still feeding him here.
Lightly, she's got children. She spends she spends all her time online worrying about alleged neglect by the Wells. Meanwhile, while you are making a claim that the Wells are neglectful, you are being actually neglectful as hell, right? Imagine this. Can you imagine neglecting your child so you can make YouTube videos about other people who you think have neglected their child? You get that big YouTube check, and then you go spend neglect money all over the world. That's blood money. Fuck you mean. Good morning.
Three weeks since Summer Wells was last seen and the Amber Alert is still active. Here's the latest. Today we learned from TBI that the FBI is still involved in the search for Summer Wells in Hawkins County. Police are asking property owners in the Ben Hill Road area of Beach Creek to contact TBI if they have any surveillance or trail cameras. TBI also said they have now received just over 870 tips regarding the disappearance of Summer Wells. None of those tips have led to any credible leads. Summer was last seen June 15th near her Beach Creek community home. State authorities are still searching for a potential witness in the case, the driver of a 1998 to 2000 red or maroon Toyota Tacoma, which happened to be in the area that Summer went missing. That truck may have a full bed ladder rack. Again, if you see Summer Wells or know where she might be, call 1-800-TBI-FIND or email tips@tbi.gov.
Good morning. So there was just an update from the news update, not an update in the case of Summer Wells. But what I'll tell you is that I had been seeing a lot of misinformation in regards to the reward. The reward is not $50K. The reward is $37,415. For whatever reason, they've chose to round that number to 50 instead of 40. And it's not even 40, it's 37,415, not 50K. Okay, that's verified. It's covered. So the other portion, 870 leads. 870. Let me tell you about the demographic there. There aren't 870 people right around right there. There's not even 400 people right there giving 2 tips apiece. So a majority, a great majority of the 870 leads are coming from online on social media. Now, let me tell you what social media. 870 leads and not one that led to anything credible. You need to stop. Quit it. Because I know that there are legitimately some of you social media people, you YouTubers, that there's 2 brands of you, don't care one way or another, or you do secretly, privately need for your content to continue to go like it is, you need this to drag on out. You need it to become a cold case, or what would be even better for you is if she was murdered, then you've got all this trial and suspect content that you get to just slide right into, because right now, in today's day and time, the technology moves so fast here. So what you have is essentially you've got a majority of details being delivered in a fashion where the time constriction is very tight. So you get lots of information really quick, and then once you play all that out for the content creators, you play all that you know out, and the next only available thing to do to keep your audience going, to keep your cash apps going, to keep your super chats going, to continue to be able to, you know, sell marijuana online, whatever these other YouTubers do. Okay. Now, this is case in point that social media web sleuths use social media Sherlocks. You're not effective at what you do. You are not effective. 870 leads that led nowhere, that led to a waste of time. 870 times. 80 different jurisdictions had to run to where whatever Tom, Dick, or Harry had a dumbass tip for the TBI. Okay? 870 times is all it took to run through the TBI budget for this disappearance. The money's gone. Now what we're going to do is we're going to leave it to law enforcement for that have the good in their heart and still search for free, and for all the great people that will either Mecca there, or that live in the area or somewhere close that could get there, that are not trained to be handling evidence, probably not trained to navigate that terrain there. You hear over and over and over how this terrain is especially difficult to navigate, even for law enforcement, who you consider for the most part have some sort of physicality as far as exercise. You would think a cop could make it before John Q. citizenry. But what we've done is we have totally dissolved the whole budget. The only money that remains in this case is going to be emergency bills that they can write in for special circumstances, or this 37415. What's the play? Who's going to step outside of the herd with me and say, okay, listen, 870 times with all these damn lives, all these views, all these super chats, all these.
All right, so Mama come down. She's getting ready to go to McDonald's with her friend. But she's going to finish feeding the baby for me. Who sent those? Was it September? Yes, September. And the Sassy Sleuth. Thank you so very much. I'm sorry I couldn't give a proper. Thank you. I'm very grateful for those. I think this is important. Now, you guys are talking about the truck in the chat, I can see, but I can definitely see where he's saying it had only been the date on this video, July 9th, 2021, not even a month and 800 and some tips. I agree with Benny, and this is why I liked Benny at the beginning. But okay, I'm going to let this play. I'm going to switch the video, but I'm still in and out here. Okay.
Donations to these content creators. And again, like the Orrin and Orson West case, like the Cash Gernon case, like every other case that has been handled in the very recent past, not one viable lead, but a bunch of running around by the police due to these dumbass YouTubers. Why can you people not just sit at home? Look here, when it's First 48 on TV, you dumb motherfuckers, you can't stop life in reality for victims and for other people and jump into the TV and tell the Dallas detectives or the Louisville detectives or the Memphis detectives what they're doing wrong and how to solve their fucking case. Because guess what? By the end of the 50-minute show, without your help, they solve damn near every case on the show. Fuck you mean.
Oh, the CEO. Financial losses don't let her sleep.
3 weeks since Summer Wells was
Good morning. I was thinking about those 870 tips again. And the fact that we know that some of these YouTubers need this to end bad for Summer. 870 tips, not one right. Y'all are doing this on purpose. It's the only other answer, right? You're doing this on purpose. You did everything in your power to make sure that you convoluted this investigation from the very onset. So the rest of us are supposed to believe that 870 times you had the best intentions of that child and that family on your heart and on your mouth, your tongue, when you spoke that to the officials, right? 870 times you were wrong. Had to have been on purpose. See, after doing something wrong 2 times, the first time you did it because you're ignorant. The second time you did it just to make sure it was wrong, and you move on. 868 more times than this. 868 more times. 870 times. Holy shit. 870.
I agree, Lisa, because it all happened like around that time that Robin was Xing it out. I wonder if that's why. But it was still the way she reacted to it, like X, 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 X. That was a little overboard. And I do find something strange with that. But I guess we find out later that her dad had passed away and left her a red Toyota. I mean, damn, does everybody in Tennessee own a red Toyota from the 1990s? Maybe I need to get me one because it seems to be a fad down there. But, okay.
Times with the wrong answer. This is on purpose. You guys have done this on purpose. There's no other answer for it. Now, maybe you and your dim-witted, short-capacitated subscribers believe that you did something good. I had people telling me yesterday, oh, Benny, you're just talking shit about people. At least they turned tips in. You didn't even turn any tips in. Well, it's because I knew if I put a tip in, it'd be 871. Because there isn't any information out there, man. Shit. You mean 870 times all these people have been talking to fucking Donald and Candy? And they are all 870 lies They couldn't substantiate not one out of the 870. Y'all did this shit on purpose. This shit is on purpose. There is no other, there's no other explanation for it. Except for 870 times before they picked up and said, Hawkins County police, he said, hey, we're about to fuck them up. Let's see how far they'll let this go. You know how far they let it go? 870 times. Because every time some dumbass YouTuber or some dumbass psychic jumps on and calls the police, they got to rush right to that. Right? So let's imagine you call from here and the police got to run all the way off the map. Meanwhile, Summer's being moved slowly out of this area, which 870 times you're all the way around here. Right? They didn't need to sneak out of the area. They didn't need to sneak out of that area with Summer. They could have put her on their shoulders and walked straight out of that fucking, that canyon, that holler, whatever they call it down there, that hill. Because the police would have had their back turned looking at every other fucking thing 870 times. Can you imagine when you got about 40 in and you're like, oh shit, we've still got 830 more times of doing this before we get called out by the news saying, what the fuck are these people doing? You want to know what they keep saying 870 times? They're saying it like this, 870 tips. Not one led to a credible lead. What they're politely saying is you dumb motherfuckers were wrong 870 times, and you had to have been doing this shit on purpose because you need this little girl to stay gone to run the numbers up on your YouTube. Fuck you, me.
July 10th.
Well, I got some things on my mind and my heart today. We're going to talk about the glory, right? Let's talk about the glory. The glory is something you can't see, you can't smell, you can't taste. You can feel it though. And the thing about glory is it's such an amazing feeling that it's addictive, right? It could be misinterpreted with other emotions that lead to a dopamine release, a feel good.
The gaming, I think that's questionable in Summer's case too. We'll get there. I've already talked about it a few times, but there's somebody who was running private servers for children they didn't know. Squall. I wonder, was the boys gaming when Summer went missing? I don't know that to be true, but Squall has said it. I have the clips.
You know, that effect to a cause, that cause and effect, right? So if you are prepared in the likeness of your God, you're giving the glory back every time. Why? Well, we know why. Because the glory is God's. What else do you need to know about it? You give the glory back to God. So when you go on 870 different times with a bad lead, if you don't know definitively in your heart, that number just isn't for anybody that's got a thumb or an index finger and half a brain to call in and chat it up with the dispatchers, right? Right?
Listen, who said they took the televisions? Somebody said they took the televisions out of the Wills' home. Dawn, and I don't know if Candace has said it, but Dawn has said several times, yeah, Candace has said it on Chris McDonough, that the boys were inside watching YouTube Minecraft. I wonder, were they chatting like we do? I would really love to know what channel they were watching, or was it they were playing? Do we know that the boys had any gaming systems? They did have phones, right? Minecraft is one of those games you can download on your phone, I believe, because I remember banning my daughter from it years ago. She downloaded it on my phone and I about had a heart attack. Gaming is questionable. They do have children that were old enough. They said they took the TVs, phones, and tablets. Yes.
So what we're looking at is a cast and crew of people that want the glory. They want the glory because they want to be famous on YouTube. And what comes with that is that good, that dopamine release, that good feeling all the time. You know, oh, I'm making money. I can sit on my ass. I can do this. I can do that. I can say this.
The good news is I think we got most of Benny's videos back, and we'll get to the one where he lays out the receipts that shows exactly what they took, because the Wills gave that to Benny, and that is in these videos. We're going to be doing this for a while, guys. I intend to go over everything until at least until right after the marathon. If not even farther.
I say that. And because my heart is stoned because I stopped giving the glory back to God a long time ago. You don't care what keeping the glory does to other people peripherally, right? Because let me tell you this, if you designed with foresight what you were going to do presently, with the ideal that when the glory came back, it was going to be a glory worthy of God, and that God would want the glory that you had created for him, especially. That's what you do for God. When the naysayers and the non-believers, they say, oh, God, well, if God's God, he would have saved Summer before she had to navigate through this. And what you're missing is that there's a lesson in everything that God does. God didn't have to submit for a copyright for the songs that birds sing. It says God didn't have to write on the lapel the beautiful works of a meadow in a sunset, because he's the creator. He painted that. Who are you? Who are we to create a earthly, manly glory? And then we think in all of our best thinking that we can force feed God the kind of glory we create without it being created in his image first. Now, people get caught up in the macking. In the words of Charleston White from Fort Worth, Texas, he said, people get caught up in the macking. They lose the message because they don't like the way it sounds. Guess what? if I got to put a fuck or a shit or a damn in there to keep the naysayers away, well, fuck damn shit, I'm going to keep on doing it, right? Because while you're worried about Benny and how he says stuff on YouTube, you're an adulterous, pill-addicted mess, whomever you are. Or, you secretly kick your dog, but you're worried about Benny saying fuck, right? You overdo it on your pain meds, and so you come up short at the end of the month. But because you get a prescription, it's okay. But Benny better not say fuck, or we're going to take on the coat of the judge of Jesus and
Lady R is really good for taking notes. She's probably on it. That's what I'm going to do, maybe after tonight's live, because I think what I'm going to do is go till the 11th, because I was on for a few hours earlier too. So we started this live with his live from the 11th. We'll finish on the 11th of July, and then tomorrow we'll start on the 12th.
condemn this man and Summer Wells and her family. Because guess what? It's ultimately God's fault, right? If God loved Summer as much as the Bible says he should, he would have never let any of this happen to her. So shame on God for picking Donald and Candy for Summer's parents. Fuck you mean.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where we started. We started on the 11th. That's when he posted the first live. So we'll watch the 11th, and then tomorrow we will start on the 12th.
So, Don took his kid to ride in an airplane. Everybody hates him more for it. Let me ask you this. When are you victim blamers going to put out a handbook that victims live by? When can they start smiling again? When can they take their kids to, try to distract them from what's going on online? The boys are old enough to use YouTube on their own, and so they're trying to disengage them from that. When is it okay to worry about the rest of the kids and try to maintain some facet of normalcy? I'm telling you, we need an official victim blaming handbook so that we just know, right? We've got to issue one to each person that loses a family member due to an abduction that has a past. That way, there's no issues and there's no violations, because clearly right now the Wells are in violation of the victim blaming handbook rule, whatever, for assuming some sort of sense of normalcy for the rest of their children. Fuck you, mean.
Good morning.
Still July 11th. Was Squall gaming with the boys online? That's a question I have. Is that why she showed up with her scrapbook stuff? Right, Lisa? Good night, Sassy Sleuth. We're still on the 11th here. I'm going to talk for a little bit, a few minutes, when we're done with the 11th.
I was directed by a friend to go look at the YouTube channel Unmasked. They had a Michael Dotson on there, or Dobson. He is, I guess, a friend of Candy and Don's. He has made a comment about this red Toyota Tacoma or whatever model it is. I'll start by saying that when the ideal or the reference to the red truck came out, we had people posting candy apple red Fords and Chevys, and it just made no never mind, right? Just as long as it was a red truck with a tailgate in our bed.
Of Benny's videos, Hattie, I don't know. Something in me tells me that he gave permission to release these. I don't think I'll have to lock them up. I'd prefer not to. I'm running out of room on my damn computer. Yeah, Lisa, I would love to know more.
In the back. So this Michael Dotson, he comes on Unmasked and he tells these and let me preface it by saying I think that the Unmasked channel is doing some of the cleanest work in regards to investigating this, but keeping the victim blaming to a bare minimum. So this guy, Michael Dotson, comes on, and I find that his comments were a little strange because he clearly wants to be in these public forums. I don't know if he's a past friend or if he's a current friend, but what he did do was come on and say, "Oh, well, Candace and Don told me this is what's going on." So he's alleviated himself of having to be the truth sayer. He wants to come on and give information, which is cool, I guess. And he's come on to do it in a way that alleviates him of any fact checking or any of that stuff. If it's wrong, then it's wrong because Candace and Don told him. Which I get it. It's part of the hoopla. But let me dig in a little further about this truck before I jump off of here. Allegedly, this truck. Now, the Unmasked video was from 1 day ago. They're still asking about this red truck on the news. The news will always have a more fair and comprehensive link to media than any of us John Q citizenry will ever have. Let's let that be known now, right? Like, YouTube is the second in line or third in line down in the chain of command in which official information will break. So we've got Michael Dotson saying that they found a truck in a neighboring county, no plates, random in, comes up to the neighbor, but we've not heard anything about the neighbor, and they're still asking about a red truck with a full bed ladder rack and with paint buckets in the back. On a truck in a neighboring county, no plates, random in, comes up to the neighbor, but we've not heard anything about the neighbor, and they're still asking about a red truck with a
red truck. So this is when, whoa, buddy. So Benny mentions Jody Sue's mom's red truck on July 11th.
Let that be known now, right? Like, YouTube is the second in line or third in line down in the chain of command in which official information will break. So we've got Michael Dotson saying that they found a truck in a neighboring county, no plates, random in, comes up to the neighbor, but we've not heard anything about the neighbor, and they're still asking about a red truck with a full bed ladder rack and with paint buckets in the back. Now, I'll tell you this, Michael Dotson, you're on the verge, on the edge of fucking up something good if this is real. Because the last thing that you need to do, Michael Dotson, is to take this this significant lead that you think is so important that everyone ought to know about it. I don't feel like it's clear.
So he's calling David Dotson Michael Dotson. We know it's David Dotson because he did the interview on Unmasked.
Cleared any of the controversy. I feel like, in fact, it's made more.
Something else I'm listening to while listening to these is that Hope Foundation that was involved. So make sure you guys, your ears perk up when that comes on too.
Mr. Dotson, what I think you need to do is you need to keep your mouth shut, because you're coming on here and you're saying things that hold no evidentiary value, no weight, right? What's the point of you coming on here saying to the public that they found the truck while the fucking news is still asking for the fucking truck? So what are you doing, Michael Dobson? You telling people to stop looking for the truck while the news is still looking for the truck? Because wildly, the accusation you've made is that the truck has been found, or a truck matching this description. Boy, I'll tell you what, you clout chasing, YouTube infected such and suches. Boy, get your non-sophisticated ass on with that shit, Michael Dotson. Okay? But let me wash that down right quick. What's your pull, Michael? What's your pull? What's your position? What's your stance, my friend? Why are you doing this? Right? Because if you're playing into the hand of law enforcement that's trying to help find this girl, you don't get on here and say they found a truck. That's not, no. Don't get me wrong, Michael. You didn't say call off the search for the truck. You didn't do that. But in no uncertain terms, you're going to get some of these very limited capacity people that are going to say, oh, they found the truck. We don't need to look anymore. Oh, when the news pops out with memos or you know, whatever in regards to still looking for this truck, people have silently taken in what you've had to say and turned off the search switch on the red truck. Fuck you mean?
Boy, he had a busy day on the 11th. This must be where he really, really dug in.
Good afternoon. Good evening. I never claimed to be mathematical protege, but I'm going to struggle through just a little bit of math on this one. Got 870 tips by about 20 days, 21 days. It's 40 tips every day. In an 8-hour span, that's about 5 tips an hour for 8 hours. About 5 tips every 8 hours. Then you start to ask yourself, did they send one agent or officer or investigator on each lead? That's 40 investigators going 40 different ways. Did they send 2 officers on each of these leads? That means 80 officers every different way. So I don't know what the average, let's say $20 an hour. How long did it take an average tip to be substantiated to be false? I don't know. But if you were to look at it in terms of man hours, say it took a minimum of 2 to 4 hours, and we'll just say 4 hours because we want to think that everyone's being thorough. So for 40 tips to come in one day, that's 160 man hours. 160 man hours in one day. Now, when you get caught,
This kind of pisses me off. The whole day, 2 days, he was going over that 860 tips, right? But how many tips has he forced people to call in since then? Show the proof. Show the proof. Something definitely changed.
behind a cascading wave of bad tips 870 times in a row, they're still working bad tips from the first few days. You got to know the average and the laws of probability. There's tips in there that can't be substantiated false and could never be substantiated truthfully. So math has been the problem here. Right? Math's been the problem when you started out with a type of budget that's on average for these sorts of cases. 870 times, 40 times a day ran all the way through that. I thought it was funny. I did find a psychic that had been calling in tips. And I'll close with this. It's a tidbit of comedic relief. She swears she knows where that little girl's body is at, but she doesn't know if she can live stream with earbuds on and the people hear them. Whoa. Yeah, I don't even know what to do with that one. But you see my point, I hope. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. So yeah, it's David Dotson. I've been told he's been caught in mistruth and untruth. I don't know if that's true or not. To me, it doesn't matter because the police are doing their job. Hawkins County is being oversighted by, and not oversighted even necessarily, but just side-sided by other agencies that aren't going to allow a cover-up if it's just Hawkins County covering it up. So I did have another individual tell me that Candace failed her first polygraph and went back for a subsequent and passed that. I don't even know how that line of commenting was started, nor do I care. Because again, I'm only going to focus on the things that law enforcement can certify. And that's the business. The phenomenon and culture of the pandemic and also the technology of YouTube and the true crime sector has allowed anyone to jump in and start doing the devil's bidding. I don't know how many people are on here doing the right things. I see more bad than I see good. The good gets swallowed by all of the inconsistent, unsophisticated.
I'm not going to talk about other creators tonight, Phoebe, okay? I'll watch Candace later. I always do.
Viciousness. You don't have to be very smart to be vicious. You just got to be vicious. The smart people are the ones that feel the viciousness but can push it down in their stomach and make it live there, and know that by bashing the parents that remain, and if we're going to stay hopeful of a live return of this girl, that when this girl comes home, she's going to have to look at all this shit, and she's going to draw her own resentment and her own conclusion to the sort of things you put out about her parents. Now, let me tell you this: if she's crossed over and she's with the good Lord, all this bullshit y'all are doing, the good Lord can see that too, because he's standing right next to her watching it go on. So I don't know. You need to check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? I heard that MGL went back seat on this investigation. That wasn't on her own volition. This is kind of a trend too, you know.
It's crazy to me that on July 11th, he kept mentioning MGL. The reason I say that is because before she went to Tennessee, she was on with Blowhorn Betty talking about, and Tiffany, I think, talking about, I don't want to be a part of this. Oh, Summer's DAD, and she didn't want to go there, and she thought the wills were dirty. Do you guys remember that? Like, she was acting like she didn't want nothing to do with that. And that wasn't, I swear, until when did they go down there? August? So this is very early on for him to be mentioning Molly, in my opinion. I don't remember Molly being involved at this point. Maybe she was and I missed it.
That person will push and push and push so nasty, to where she will find herself in this small window where she can become a victim and say, oh, I've just been victimized so much because of what I think. I'm just going to take the back seat. Well, get you some tissues, you crybaby ass bitch. Fuck you, mean.
Okay, so this one starts July 12th. Let me go back and make sure there's not another live on the 11th. I don't think so, though. I think I looked. Yeah, the next live is Summer Wells catch up, and that's on the 12th. So we'll start there tomorrow. Let me come back to chat a little bit here. Yeah, I was just going to say that right before this, he was covering Gernon and MGO was in that. But she didn't want nothing to do with Summer's case at the beginning. Remember that? Yeah. There definitely was. I remember that because it snowed early here too. Yeah, I think it's good that we go back and listen to Benny because he had a big part with the Wells. You know what I mean? Like, he was in there, and these videos have been blocked for so long. I'm really curious. Crimes Has Consequences came in and said she knows who unblocked them, but whoever you are, thank you. Benny, if you gave permission, thank you. Tiffany, I'll unblock you tomorrow night when we watch. If you want to come in and you want to be decent and respectful in my chat like you expect in yours, I'll let you stay and watch. You get out of line, I'm going to unblock you. I'm going to block you again. We'll start over. I'll give you the 3 strikes since you have 3 channels you've been rating me from. 4. Yeah, you remember that? And I do think that it's worth pointing out the gaming stuff. Who talked about that? Heather and somebody else was talking about it. Lisa was talking about it. I think that needs to be looked into. There's just so much that needs to be looked into. So I can't say for a while we're going to be covering Benny's channel just because these videos haven't been seen in forever. Hopefully they'll leave the channel up because I'm not going to go download each video. There's a ton of them. Yeah, I'm still very curious about Ernie, and I'm hoping that a lot of this will lead into that. I think the information coming from Benny is most important because at the time and for a very long time, until Dawn went to jail, Benny was very closely tied to them and friends with them. And as you see, he definitely stuck up for them and he felt bad for those that were attacking them. Something changed. There has to be a reason why. Then all the marathon came out. That's another time when things changed. Yeah. And maybe we could just figure out what the hell happened here. You know what I mean? He is very intelligent. I think he is. But I feel like he got that. He's one of them people that just ruins his own shit. You know? Yeah, he didn't. That's what I'm looking for is like dates that the marathon started coming up, when he started talking about Squall, when he started talking about Scott, when he started all of it. Like what did I say today? I'm going to go back through this. I'm going to take some time tonight, maybe tomorrow, to go back through this and take some notes. I think it's a good starting point. Exactly in his own way. Did the farm trolls attack too much? No. Why? Were they talking about me over there? I don't know why. I don't talk about them people. And if they can't see what I'm doing, then there's a problem. If, the true crime community, if they don't want to go back through this and figure out what happened and what caused all of the issues in this case, then there's a problem. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. I think it's important. I think it's important to Summer's case. When did Kraken cases come in? What date did Kraken cases and Candace started fighting? What were the police saying around them? As we see, Benny did a really good job of adding what was going on, the marathon, or the reward money from Hawkins County, and oh, they're picking on Ernie. Okay, thank goodness. I think a lot of people have been talking about Ernie the last few days. I guess he went on Brooks yesterday, and I finally watched White Boy's video from last night. Look, I have thoughts on all of that. I've let a little bit of them out, but we'll get there as we go along. Yeah, they were investigating Jackie Dobbs. I think it's just smart for us to get, it's 3 years of stuff. We got to try to get through some more than just 1 month at a time. And some of these lives, like they went on for 8-9 hours. Maybe we'll just skim through them when we get to those ones. We'll figure, maybe we'll watch them all. I don't know. Part 1, part 2. I guess we'll be here a while. But let me know, guys, if you get sick of it and you want to move on and talk about something else, we could take a break too. I'm going to make sure I take a break from it as well. I don't want to overwhelm. I'll leave your channel on all day. Aw, thank you, M9 for life. Yeah, 3 years of chances. I think a lot of things where Arnie's concerned. We'll get there. But all right, guys, I've been on for about 3 hours here. My daughter-in-law didn't get back from McDonald's yet. The baby's still down here. I'm going to go cuddle him a little bit. He's still up. I hear him over there. He's been so good tonight. So I'm going to go see what everybody's doing. Kind of tired tonight. And Dawn say about the hammer. Yeah, I seen a little bit about that. All right, but peace and love to you all. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being okay with me showing all Benny's stuff. I do think it's very important. Thank you for the couple super chats I got. I believe September Vargo and, oh boy, she left. I'd have to really go back up. I can't think of the name right now. I'm so gracious. So, all right, guys. Mwah. Peace and love to you all tonight. See you tomorrow at some point.